जय हिंद दोस्तों, फिर से आपका स्वागत है हमारे इस वाजीराम रवि के प्रीलिम्स रिवीजन सीरीज़ में। यह 2024 का है और यह पहला पार्ट है जो मई से लेकर दिसंबर 2023 तक का पूरा संस्करण है। और आप लोग को एग्ज़ाम होगा कि डेट मालूम होगा कि एग्ज़ाम का डेट 26 मई 2024 है। और हम लोग का यह कंटिन्यू सीरीज़ रहेगा। तो हम लोगों ने कई सारे सेक्शंस कर लिए थे। पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस इज़ ऑलमोस्ट ओवर, ऑलमोस्ट क्या मतलब ख़त्म ही हो गया था। और फिर हम लोग इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन कर रहे थे। तो आपसे बस ये अनुरोध है कि अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ 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 इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें। और वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें उन लोगों तक जो इस बार का यूपीएससी प्री देने वाले हैं, ताकि उनके करंट अफेयर की तैयारी अच्छे से हो सके और वो भी करंट अफेयर में अपने आप को सहज महसूस करवा सकें। वीडियो को देखते रहे। और इसके साथ हम लोगों ने विजन आईएएस का पॉलिटिकल 365 किया हुआ है, इन्वायरमेंट का किया हुआ है और इकोनॉमिक्स का हम लोगों ने कर लिया। तो आप लोग अगर उसे नहीं देखे तो उसे भी जाकर देखिए और अपनी एग्ज़ाम की तैयारी को और मजबूत कीजिए। क्या आप लोग को यह वीडियो कैसा लग रहा है, हमारी यह पहल कैसी लग रही है, इसके बारे में अगर आपको कोई जानकारी या कोई भी तरह का सजेशन देना होगा तो आप लोग कमेंट बॉक्स में जरूर जाइए और हमें सजेशन दीजिए। तो आइए शुरू करते हैं आज का हमारा सीरीज़, जो कि जहाँ हम लोगों ने पिछले वीडियो लेक्चर में छोड़ा था वहीं से आज हम लोग कंटिन्यू करने वाले हैं। तो आइए शुरू करते हैं आज का हमारा टॉपिक। आज का हमारा टॉपिक यहाँ पे है, ये यहाँ से आ गया, इजराइल फ़लस्तीन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट। तो शुरू करते हैं। Recently, the United Nations General Assembly (UNGA) passed a resolution that asked the International Court of Justice (ICJ) to render its opinion on the legal consequences of Israel's prolonged occupation of Palestine land. International Court of Justice क्या है? तो ICJ. The ICJ is the principal judicial organ of the United Nations (UN). It was established in 1945 by the Charter of the United Nations and began work in April 1946. The seat of the court is at the Peace Palace in the Hague, Netherlands. It is the only one of the 6 principal organ of the UN that is located in the New York City. English and French are the ICJ's official language. Role क्या है? To settle in accordance with international law legal disputes submitted it by state and to give advisory opinion on legal question referred to it by authorized UN organ and specialized agencies. Member of jurisdiction of ICJ कौन कौन सा? तो all member of UN are automatically participating in the ICJ statutory. However, this does not automatically give the ICJ jurisdiction over dispute involving them. The ICJ get jurisdiction only if both parties consent to it. The judgment of the ICJ is final and technically binding on the parties to a case. There is no provision of appeal. It can at the most by subject to interpretation on or upon the discovery of new fact या revision. The ICJ has no way to ensure compliance of its order and its authority is driven from the willingness of the countries to abide by them. Israel Palestine conflict क्या है? तो Israel Palestine conflict date back at the end of 19th century. In 1947, the United Nations adopted Resolution 181, known as the Partition Plan, which sought to divide the British Mandate of Palestine into Arab and Jewish state. Palestine was a part of Ottoman Empire, later became part of British Empire. On May 14, 1948, the State of Israel was created, sparking the first Arab-Israel war. The war ended in 1949 with Israel's victory, but many Palestinians were displaced and the territory was divided into 3 parts: the State of Israel, the West Bank of the Jordan River, and the Gaza Strip. In another war in 1969, also known as Six-Day War, Israel occupied East Jerusalem and the West Bank as well as most of the Syrian Golan Heights, Gaza, and the Egyptian Sinai Peninsula. Yom Kippur War क्या है? तो the Yom Kippur War or the October War of the Ramadan War was fought between Israel on the one side and Egypt and Syria on the other from October 6 to 25, 1973. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of Jerusalem and Samarthanism. It is also known as the Day of Atonement. It is observed on the 10th day of lunar month of Tishri, which falls in September or early October. It is also called the fourth Arab-Israeli War, coming after 3 wars in 1949, 1956 and 1967. Iron Dome क्या है? तो it is a short-range ground-to-air air defense system that includes a radar and Tamir interceptor missiles that track and neutralize any rocket or missile aimed at Israeli target. It is used for continuing rocket, artillery and mortar, CRAM, as well as aircraft, helicopters and unmanned aerial vehicles. The Iron Dome was deployed in 2011, while Rafael claimed its success rate of over 90% with more than 2,000 interceptions, except expert agrees the success rate is over 80%. Next topic is NATO Plus. A Congressional Committee recently recommended strengthening NATO Plus by including India into the five-member grouping. About NATO Plus, क्या तो it is a grouping of North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO and five countries including Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Israel and South Korea. What is North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO क्या है तो it is a transatlantic alliance of 31 like-minded North American and European countries. It was established by the North Atlantic Treaty, also known as Washington Treaty, on April 4, 1949. Aim किया था to protect peace and to guarantee the territorial integrity, political independence and security of the member state. Article 5 of the treaty क्या है तो if an armed attack occur against one of the member state, it should be considered an attack against all members, and other members shall assist the attacked member with armed forces if necessary. हेडक्वार्टर इसका है ब्रुसेल्स, बेल्जियम में. नेक्स्ट है इनोवेटिव फाइनेंस फैसिलिटी फॉर क्लाइमेट इन एशिया एंड पैसिफिक, IF-CAP. ABD announces innovative financial initiative for climate in Asia and Pacific, IF-CAP. गोल क्या है to accelerate climate action in Asia and Pacific. मल्टी डोनर फाइनेंसिंग पार्टनरशिप क्या है तो IF-CAP aim to scale up finance for climate action in Asia Pacific. इनिशियल पार्टनर क्या है तो डेनमार्क, जापान, कोरिया, स्वीडन, UK एंड US. लैंडमार्क प्रोग्राम क्या है फर्स्ट ऑफ इट्स काइंड फॉर अ मल्टीलैटरल डेवलपमेंट बैंक. अगला है वर्ल्ड बैंक प्रेसिडेंट. Indian origin Ajay Banga was confirmed as the next president of World Bank. About World Bank Group क्या तो WB is an international financial institution that provides loan and grants to the government of low and middle income developing countries for the purpose of pursuing capital projects. It was established along with the IMF at the 1944 Bretton Woods Conference. The WB is the collective name for the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, and International Development Association, IDA, two of five international organizations owned by the WB Group. The WB Group, which is the partner organization of WB, includes कौन कौन सा तो पहला है IBRD. It provides loan, credit and grants. Next is IDA. It provides loan or no interest loan to low income countries. International Finance Corporation, IFC क्या है तो it provide investment, advice and asset management to private companies and government. Multilateral Guarantee Agency, MIGA. It ensures leaders and investors against political risk such as war. Next is International Center for the Settlement of Investment Disputes, ICSID. It settles investment dispute between investor and countries. What is the leadership of WB क्या है तो the president of WB, who is the president of entire World Bank Group, is responsible for chairing meeting of the board of director and for overall management of the bank. Traditionally, the president of bank has always been a US citizen nominated by the US, the largest shareholder of the bank. The nominee is subject to confirmation by the board of executive director to serve a 5-year renewal term. The board of directors consists of WB Group president and 25 executive directors. The president is the presiding officer and originally has no vote except to break a tie. The executive director as individual cannot exercise any power or commit or represent the bank unless the board specifically authorized them to do so. अगला International Organization of Migration, IOM. Amy Pope has been elected next Director General of International Organization of Migration. Established in 1951, IOM is the leading intergovernmental organization in the field of migration and works closely with the governmental, intergovernmental and non-governmental partners. History क्या है तो it was born in 1951 out of the chaos and displacement of Western Europe following the Second World War. Status क्या है तो IOM was granted permanent observer status of the UN General Assembly in 1992. and a cooperation agreement between IOM and the UN was signed in 1996. Members क्या तो with 175 member states including India and each state holding observer status and officers in over 100 countries. IOM is dedicated to promoting humane and orderly migration for the benefit of all. India is the member of IOM. 66 Indian Ocean Conference IOC. The sixth edition of Indian Ocean Conference IOC is being held in India. Foundation is in association with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Bangladesh and S. Rajanatnam School of International Studies. What is Indian or Ocean Regime? IOR क्या है? तो IOR is a geographical region that encompasses the Indian Ocean and its surrounding areas, including the littoral state and islands. The region spans from the African coast in the west to the Australia coast in the east, and from the Arabian Peninsula and the Persian Gulf in the north to the southern coast of Sri Lanka and Australia in the south. The Indian Ocean is the world's third largest ocean, covering an area of approximately 70.6 million square kilometers. यहाँ आप लोग ग्राफ में देख सकते हैं इंडियन ओशन रीजन में क्या है, तो यहाँ इंडिया हो जाएगा, फिर उधर पर्शियन गल्फ हो जाएगा, हॉर्न ऑफ अफ्रीका, ईस्टर्न अफ्रीका, सदर्न अफ्रीका, साउथ वेस्ट इंडियन ओशन आइलैंड्स जिसे मेडागास्कर हो जाएगा, फिर सदर्न इंडियन ओशन आइलैंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया, फिर इधर इंडोनेशिया हो जाएगा, बर्मा हो जाएगा, मलेशिया हो जाएगा, दिस टाइप ऑफ कंट्री ब्रुनेई आइलैंड हो जाएगा। तो यह पूरा एसोसिएशन है। फिर इट इज़ होम टू सेवरल इंपॉर्टेंट सी लैंड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन इंक्लूडिंग द स्ट्रेट ऑफ मलक्का, स्ट्रेट ऑफ द स्विस कैनाल एंड द बब अल मिदन स्ट्रेट एंड कनेक्ट एशिया, यूरोप एंड अफ्रीका। सिल्कवर्म ईटिंग स्ट्रेटजी। द प्लान टाइप 054 फ्रिगेट मा अंशम recorded operating New Taiwan in August 2022 by ROCN destroyer Ma Kong. The Chinese equivalent to the Western notion of salami slicking tactics is the idea of silkworm eating. The essence of this strategy lie in achieving success through slow and steady process, metamorphically linked to the way a silkworm eat a mulberry leaf instead of resorting to forceful annexation. Visit by PM Modi to Egypt. PM Modi began his maiden state visit to Egypt by holding discussion with the Indian unit in the Egyptian cabinet. Key highlight of the visit क्या है, तो India unit is headed by Prime Minister of Egypt Mustafa Madbouly and compares the number of ministers and senior officers. This was the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the country in 26 years. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi conferred Modi with Order of the Nile Award, the country's highest state honor. PM visited his historic 11th century Al-Hakim Mosque in Cairo, which was restored with the help of India's Dawoodi Bohra community. The Dawoodi Bohra Muslims are a set of followers of Islam who adhere to the Fatimi Islami Tayyibi school of thought. They were known to have originated from Egypt and later shifted to Yemen before establishing a presence in India in the 11th century. PM visits Heliopolis War ceremony in Cairo to pay respect to Indian soldiers who laid down their lives during the World War I. Next is Modi's state visit to USA. PM Modi was an official state visit to USA. This was the first state visit of the country. Key outcome of the bilateral talk between the Indian PM and the President of USA क्या क्या है? पहला jet engine tech transfer. There was an announcement of a mega deal between the General Electric Aerospace and the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for the manufacture under license in India of GE's F414 engine. The engine will be manufactured for the Indigenous Light Combat Aircraft LCA Tejas Mk2. Inaugural session of an innovation platform called India-US State Defense Association Acceleration Ecosystem IndusX. Under it, Indian and American startups will now be able to co-develop and co-produce advanced technologies, including in areas of space, artificial intelligence. India-US Cancer Dialogue will be launched on November 2023 and the US-India Health Dialogue in October 2023 in Washington DC. The two sides will collaborate to bring together startup, private equities, and venture capital firm to build linkage between the two countries' innovation ecosystem. ICET is a framework for India and US to collaborate on critical and emerging technologies, setting up of Global Challenge Institute to strengthen research and sustainable energy, agriculture, health, and pandemic preparedness. Reiterated their strain on building resilient global semiconductor supply chain. In a signal that highlights the two countries' growing distance from China, India also supported its US RIP and Replace pilot project. This project mandates the American companies steer out telecom equipment made by the Chinese companies Huawei and ZTE. This move has already been implemented by New Delhi as part of its 5G launch. Both sides also welcomed the signing of an agreement between the Bharat 6G Alliance and Next G Alliance as the first step toward deepening public-private cooperation between vendor and operator. The Bharat 6G Alliance is a public-private sector initiative was formed after the PM said India would launch the next generation high-speed network by 2030. It has all the three telecoms Jio, Airtel and VI as member along with the companies like Tech Mahindra. Other outcome of the visit क्या है तो announcement regarding New Delhi joining the Artemis Accord. Both the leaders applauded the conclusion of second master ship repair agreement. About Artemis Accord क्या है तो Artemis named after the Greek moon goddesses represent the comprehensive agreement drawn by the US to bring together nations that share a common vision for civil space exploration. It serves as the framework for cooperation and collaboration in space exploration, building up a foundation of the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. The Artemis Accord were jointly launched by the United States Development of State and NASA on October 13, 2020, with 7 partner countries such as Canada, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, UAE, and the UK. The principles of the Artemis Accord include क्या तो Artemis program include plan for a base on the lunar surface, multiple spacecraft to ferry humans and cargo, an orbiting space station, and a constellation of satellites to help with navigation and communication. The first Artemis crew mission to the moon's surface is likely in 2026. NASA is also need to emphasize that the Artemis program will take the first woman and the first person of color to the moon. यहाँ पे व्हाट इज स्टेट विजिट क्या है देख लेते हैं तो स्टेट विजिट आर द हाईएस्ट रैंक कैटेगरी ऑफ फॉरेन विजिट टू द यूएस where the head of the state visit the US on the formal invitation of the US president. Invitation from the state visit signifies that the US considers the guest nation an important friend and ally. A state dinner is a crucial part of such visit. The state dinner is held at the White House, the residence of the US president. The other key event that marks state visit include क्या a 21-gun salute, White House arrival ceremony, and an invitation to stay at the Blair House, the US President Guest House across Pennsylvania Avenue. अगला न्यूज़ है UN adopts High Sea Treaty. The United Nations has adopted the first ever international treaty to govern the high sea and protect remote ecosystem vital to humanity. The treaty will take effect once it is ratified by 60 countries. What are the high seas? The high seas are a part of the ocean that are not included in the Executive Economic Zone (EEZ), territorial sea and internal water of the state. Water beyond 20 nautical miles from the coast of country is known as high sea. High sea are the areas of the ocean for which no one nation has sole responsibility for management. UN High Sea Treaty क्या है तो agreed under the UNCLOS. This treaty is commonly known as the Agreement of Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction (BBJNJ). This treaty is the first international law to offer some protection to the nearly two-thirds of the ocean that is beyond national control. This treaty will be legally binding in nature. Key provision of the UN High Sea Treaty क्या है तो पहला है demarcation of marine protected area (MPAs). MPAs are where ocean system including biodiversity are under stress either due to human activity or climate change. These can be called the national parks or wildlife reserve of the ocean. Activities in this area will be highly regulated and conservation efforts similar to what happened in the forest or wildlife zone will be undertaken. Sustainable use of marine genetic resource and equitable sharing of benefit arising from them. The treaty seeks to ensure that any benefit arising out of such efforts include monetary gain or free from strong intellectual property rights control and are equitable share amongst all. The knowledge generated from such expenditure are also supposed to remain openly accessible in all. Initial of the principle of environmental impact assessment for all major activities in the ocean. क्या क्या? So under the new treaty, commercial or other activities that can have significant impact on the marine ecosystem would require an environmental impact assessment to be done. Creation of new body क्या है? The treaty will create a new body to manage conservation of ocean life and establish marine protected area in the high seas. वेगर ग्रुप क्या है? तो येवगेन प्रिगोजिन, the chief of Russia's Wagner private military campaign, died in a plane crash. The Wagner group first surfaced during Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, essentially a network of contractors that supply soldiers for hire. The group isn't registered anywhere in its source of funding remain unknown. The organization's owner and head was Yevgen Prigozhin. Apart from Ukraine, Wagner Group is reportedly also active in Western Asia and several countries in Africa. According to media report, it provides its service to different governments, offer in exchange for access to gold and diamond mines. India gift missile corvette INS Kripan to Vietnam. India gifted the indigenous wheeled in service missile corvette INS Kripan to Vietnam to enhance the country's naval capabilities. INS Kripan is the third indigenously wheeled Kukri class missile corvette. However, the gifting of the corvette to Vietnam marks the first instance of India gifting a warship to a Chinese neighbor with a coastline on the South China Sea. अगला sanctions committee of UNSC. Each sanctions regime is administered by a sanction committee that consists of all 15 members of the Security Council. 50 members include कौन सा? तो 5 permanent member and 10 non-permanent members of UNSC. This sanctions committee ensures the implementation of the sanction and can decide by consensus to adopt targeted sanction against specific individual, emphasizes or entities. Example: UNSC, Al Qaeda, and ISIL sanction committee of or 1267 sanctions committee is one of such committee. The function of UNSC sanction committee: once an entity or an individual is included in the list, it gets designated as the global terrorist. The member states are required to पहला क्या? freeze fund and financial assistance to that individual या entity. Second is enforce a travel ban, and third is cut off access to arm and related materials. Procedure followed by the UN sanction committee concerns the decision of consensus. The requirement effectively gives a veto to all 15 members of the committee, 10 non-permanent and 5 permanent members. Member can replace a hold on the decision. A committee member can place a hold on decisions should they require more time and information to consider the matter at hand. As per the guidelines, a hold can last for as long as 6 months at a time but cannot exceed it further under extraordinary circumstances. Apart from this vague condition, there is no restriction or reportedly invoking a hold. Committee meeting take place in closed session with no publication of the agenda proceeding on voting record of the committee. What is UNSC, Al Qaeda, and ISIL Sanction Committee? The ISIL, Daesh, and Al Qaeda Sanction Committee is also known as 1267 Sanction Committee. It is one of the most important UN subsidiary bodies working to combat terrorism, particularly in relation to ISIL, Daesh, Al Qaeda, and associated individual group undertaking and entities. This committee oversees the implementation of sanctions pursuant to UNSC Resolution 1267, 1999, 1989, 2011 and 2253 in 2015. India UN SDG Cooperation Framework. Recently, Niti Aayog and the United Nations in India signed the Government of India United Nations Sustainable Development Corporation Framework 2023-27. About GOL UNSDC framework क्या है तो it represents the UN development system collective offered to the Government of India in the line with the National Vision for Development for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, promoting gender equality, youth empowerment, and human rights. It is built on the fourth strategic pillar derived from the 2030 Agenda: People, Prosperity, Planet, and Partnership Participation. The fourth interlinking pillar has six outcome areas focusing on health and well-being, nutrition and food security, quality education, economic growth, and decent work, environment, climate was and resilience, and empowering people, community, and institutions. The implementation and monitoring it will be co-led by the Government of India and the United Nations India through a joint steering committee. Universal Postal Union (UPU). The Union Cabinet has approved the ratification of amendments to the Constitution of the Universal Postal Union (UPU) as contained in the 11th additional portal to the Constitution signed during the 27th Congress of the Universal Postal Union held in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire from 9 to 27 August 2021. The approval enables the Department of Post, Government of India to have the instrument of ratification signed by the Honorable President of India and have the same deposited with the Director General of International Bureau of the Universal Postal Union. This would fulfill the obligations arising from Article 25 and 30 of the UPU Constitution, which provides for ratification of amendments to Constitution adopted by the Congress as soon as possible for member countries. The Universal Postal Union (UPU), established by the Treaty of Bern of 1874, is a specialized agency of the United Nations (UN) that coordinates postal policies among member nations in addition to the worldwide postal system. The UPU's headquarters are located in Bern, Switzerland. Asia Pacific Plant Protection Commission (APPC). The Asia Pacific Plant Protection Commission unanimously elected India as chair of the Standing Committee on Integrated Pest Management (IPM) for the Biennium 2023-24 during the 32nd session held in Bangkok. About Asia Pacific Plant Protection Commission क्या है तो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स का क्या है तो कमीशन कोऑर्डिनेट्स एंड सपोर्ट प्लांट प्रोटेक्शन एक्टिविटी ऑफ इट्स मेंबर्स in Asia and the Pacific, with emphasis on developing regional standards for phytosanitary measures (RSPMS) etc. It was established in 1956 as a regional body approved by the Food Agriculture Organization (FAO) of the United Nations. Member countries क्या है तो the commission consists of 25 member countries including India. Status of the organization क्या है the commission consists of representative of all member countries and elects among them a chairperson who serves for a period of 2 years. The Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization appoints and provides the secretariat that coordinates, organizes, and follows up the work of the Commission. The Commission, according to its provision, convenes at least once every 2 years and opens for participation to all member countries. Indus Water Treaty (IWT) ये क्या है तो India recently made a proposal to Pakistan to hold a meeting on discussion the potential renegotiation of the Indus Water Treaty. Indus Water Treaty क्या है the treaty is a water distribution treaty between India and Pakistan brokered by the World Bank. According to this treaty, 3 rivers Ravi, Satluj and Beas were given to India and the other 3 Sindh, Jhelum and Chenab were given to Pakistan. Rights and obligation under this treaty क्या है तो India is under obligation to lead water of the western river flowing except for certain compensative use. This treaty allocates Pakistan approx 80% of the entire water of the 6 river Indus system and reserved for India just remaining 19.84% of the total water. India can construct a storage facility on western river of up to 3.6 million acre feet, which it has not done so far. The IWT permits run of the river project are required India to provide Pakistan with prior notification, including design information of any new project. What are the dispute redressal mechanism under the Indus Water Treaty? So Article 9 of the treaty is a dispute resolution mechanism granted at three levels to resolve a difference or a dispute related to protects of the Indus water. फर्स्ट लेवल क्या है तो इंटायर पार्टी हैज़ टू इन्फॉर्म द अदर साइड if they are planning project on the Indus River with all the information that is required to ask for by other party. This process is done at the level of Permanent Indus Commission PIC created to implement and manage the goals of IWT. If PIC is unable to solve the question in contention, the question becomes difficult and goes to second level. सेकेंड लेवल में क्या होगा तो द सेकेंड लेवल इज द वर्ल्ड बैंक अपॉइंटिंग एन न्यूट्रल एक्सपर्ट टू रिजॉल्व द डिफरेंस. इफ a neutral expert cannot resolve the issue, the difference becomes a dispute and goes to third level. थर्ड लेवल में क्या होगा तो एट दिस लेवल द मैटर गोज टू द कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन COA whose chair is appointed by the वर्ल्ड बैंक. यहाँ पे आप लोग इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी का मैप देखिए. यहाँ पे आप लोग को मैप में दिख रहा होगा कि रेड से जो रिवर है सतलज, ब्यास, रवि, और ब्लू से इंडस, चेनाब एंड झेलम. यहाँ पे काफ़ी सारा हुरी डैम, सलाल डैम, पोंग डैम एंड भाखड़ा डैम इज़ ऑन इंडिया साइड. और इसी तरह से तरबेला डैम, मांगला डैम, पंजहंद बैराज एंड सुकार बैराज इज़ ऑन पाकिस्तान साइड. और ये नेक्स्ट न्यूज़ है. ग्रुप ऑफ ग्लोबल क्राइसिस रिस्पांस ग्रुप GCRG India recently joined the campaigns group of global crisis response groups GCRG. about global crisis response group क्या है तो GCRG was set up by the UN Secretary General in March 2022. पर्पस क्या है तो द 32 member group ensures high level political leadership to get ahead of the immune interconnected challenges of food security, energy and financing, and implement a coordinated global response to the ongoing crisis. It is overseen by the champion group comprising respective of Bangladesh, Barbados, Denmark, Germany, Indonesia and Senegal. The UN Dispute Secretary General leads to the stressing committee of GCRG टीम वर्क क्या है तो विद इन द ग्रुप 3 वर्क स्ट्रीम ऑफ फूड, एनर्जी एंड फाइनेंस विल collect data and generate analysis, policy recommendation and solution to support decision making and advocacy for consideration of the steering committee. This work stream will remain flexible and responsive to opportunities that seek to resolve immediate crisis and the vulnerabilities of people and countries. Black Sea Grain Deal. The last ship carrying grain from Ukraine under the UN brokerage deal that guaranteed its safe passage left the port of Odisha. This deal is set to expire on July 17 and Russia is still not agreed to extend it. Geographical location of Black Sea क्या है तो the Black Sea lies between the continents of Asia and Europe. It bound to the west of the Balkan Peninsula in southern Eastern Europe, to the east of Caucasus, north by Eastern Europe plain, and south by Anatolia of Western Asia. It is bordered by Ukraine in the north, Russia in the northeast, Georgia in the east, and Turkey in the south, and Bulgaria and Romania in the west. What is Black Sea Grain Deal क्या है तो in July 2022 Russia and Ukraine signed a deal to reopen grains export from Ukraine Black Sea port. The agreement is also known as Black Sea Initiative. Under the initiative, cargo ship would be allowed to travel from the 3 Ukrainian port of Odisha, Chornomorsk and Pivdeni या Yuzhe after inspection that they won't carry arms. A control center was established in Istanbul, staffed by UN, Turkish, Russia and Ukrainian officers to run and coordinate the process. The deal has been extended twice and is due to expire on July 17. तो यहाँ पे ब्लैक सी का लोकेशन देख रहे होंगे इधर आप. यहाँ पे ब्लैक सी है, नीचे मेडिटेरेनियन है, ऊपर यूरोप है और इधर ईस्ट में एशिया है. अगला है क्लीन एनर्जी मिनिस्ट्रियल CEM एंड मिशन इनोवेशन MI. India hosted the 4th Clean Energy Ministerial CEM14 and 8th Mission Innovation M18 meeting. The theme for CEM14 MI8 was Advancing Clean Energy Together. यहाँ पे फीचर है CME है और MI है. तो ईयर इस्टेब्लिश 2009 में हुआ था और MI हुआ था 2015 में फेज़ 1 और 2021 में हुआ था फेज़ 2. ऑब्जेक्टिव देखते हैं तो पहले CEME के ऑब्जेक्टिव देखते हैं. तो ऑब्जेक्टिव होगा प्रमोट एंड एक्सेलरेट क्लीन एनर्जी टेक्नोलॉजी शेयर बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस ट्रांजिशन टू क्लीन एनर्जी इकॉनमी. गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर में देखते हैं तो हाई लेवल ग्लोबल फोरम बेस्ड ऑन कॉमन इंटरेस्ट. फोकस में देखते हैं तो लीडरशिप प्लेटफॉर्म कन्वेनिंग एक्शन एक्सेलरेशन की एक्टिविटीज़ में क्या है तो एनुअल मिनिस्ट्रियल मीटिंग इनिशिएटिव कैंपेन. मेंबरशिप में हो जाएगा तो 29 मेंबर्स 28 गवर्निंग प्लस गवर्नमेंट्स प्लस यूरोपियन यूनियन. की अचीवमेंट में हो जाएगा तो ग्लोबल लाइटनिंग चैलेंज उज्ज्वला प्रोग्राम. टाइमलाइन होगा तो ऑनगोइंग. उसी तरह से MI का देखते हैं तो ईयर स्टैब्लिश होगा 2015 फेज़ 1 और 2021 फेज़ 2. ऑब्जेक्टिव हो जाएगा तो एक्सेलरेट क्लीन एनर्जी इनोवेशन मोबालाइज फंडिंग एडवांस R&D अचीव नेट जीरो गोल्स. गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर में क्या हो जाएगा तो मिनिस्ट्रियल लेवल फोरम विद 23 कंट्रीज एंड EU. फोकस में क्या तो रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट एंड डिमॉन्स्ट्रेशन RD एंड D ऑफ क्लीन एनर्जी. की एक्टिविटीज़ में क्या होगा तो एनुअल मिनिस्ट्रियल मीटिंग क्लीन एनर्जी इनोवेशन मिशंस. मेंबरशिप में हो जाएगा 23 कंट्रीज प्लस यूरोपियन यूनियन. की अचीवमेंट में हो जाएगा तो डबलिंग गवर्नमेंट फंडिंग फॉर क्लीन एनर्जी RD एंड D. टाइमलाइन हो जाएगा फेज़ 1 2015 से 20. अगला है यूरोपियन स्काई शील्ड इनिशिएटिव ESSI. तो ये क्या है देखते हैं तो ऑस्ट्रिया एंड द स्विट्जरलैंड हैड बिकम द लेटेस्ट नेशन टू ज्वाइन द यूरोपियन स्काई शील्ड इनिशिएटिव ESSI, bringing the total number of participants to 19. This ambitious project aimed to create a unified air and missile defense system for Europe, bolstering NATO's capabilities in the critical areas. Spearheaded by Germany in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, ESSI encourages European nations to work together in acquiring air defense equipment and missiles. This collaborative approach promises to strengthen the continent's collective defense and enhance its security postures. Other countries already participating in ESSI include Belgium, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Norway, Slovakia, and the United Kingdom. This growing coalition reflects the shared commitment among European nations to enhance their air and missile defense capabilities and ensure a more secure future. PM Modi's visit to Greece. क्या है? The following his visit to South Africa to attend 15th BRICS Summit, PM Modi an official visit to Greece. This was the first time by an Indian Prime Minister to Greece in 40 years, where he was conferred with the Grand Cross of the Order of Honor. About Grand Cross of the Order of Honor क्या है? It is the second highest civilian honor of the Greece. It is conferred to eminent personalities who, by reason of their distinguished position, has contributed to enhance the status of Greece. The Order of Honor was established in 1975. The head of the goddesses Athena is depicted on the front side of the star and the inscription "Only the righteous should be honored." अगला नॉर्थ सी. तो यहाँ पे आप लोग देख रहे होंगे नॉर्थ सी का यहाँ पे मैप दिया हुआ है अच्छे से. UK, डेनमार्क, नॉर्वे, नीदरलैंड, बेल्जियम, फ्रांस सराउंडिंग द नॉर्थ सी. UK Prime Minister recently backed plans for new fossil fuel drilling off British coast. The North Sea Transition Authority (NTSA), which is responsible for regulating oil, gas and carbon storage industry, is planning to conduct its 33rd offshore oil and gas licensing round. About North Sea क्या होता है? Geographically, the North Sea lies between England and Scotland, or its west, the Netherlands, Belgium and France on its south, Norway, Denmark and Germany on its east. It is an epic sea or island sea, either completely surrounded by dry land or connected to an ocean by a river, strait or arm of the sea on the European continental shelf. It connects the Atlantic Ocean through the English Channel in the south and Norwegian Sea in the north. अगला बिजनेस 20 B20 समिट हेल्ड इन न्यू दिल्ली. तो न्यूज़ में क्यों था? तो मणिपुर चीफ मिनिस्टर N. Biren Singh inaugurated a conference of opportunities of multilateral business partnership in ICT, tourism, health care and handloom in Imphal. This was the first of the four sessions of BM20 scheduled in Northeast India. What is B20 conference? The Business 20 या B20 is an event which is part of G20 summit. It is the voice of the G20 business committee. More specifically, its main purpose consists in developing recommendation and issuing relevant commitments from the business leader and business organization to deal with nowadays issues. The first B20 conference took place in South Korea in 2010. Working of B20. The B20 has no standing secretariat. The leadership rotates every year together with the G20 presidency. The B20 delivers concert actionable policy recommendations and priorities established by each rotation presidency to spur economic growth and development. Its working proceeding is based on task force TFs, action council ACs, interested and developing consensus based policy proposal to the G20 and to international organizations and institutions. Next is the spirit of Camp David. इसे हम लोग अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में करेंगे। इस वीडियो लेक्चर को यहीं पर समाप्त करते हैं। उम्मीद है आपको वीडियो पसंद आया होगा, तो आप लोग कमेंट सेक्शन में जरूर बताएंगे आपको हमारी पहल कैसी लगी। और अगर आप लोग हमारे चैनल पर नए हैं और अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ इसे सब्सक्राइब करके हमें सपोर्ट करें, क्योंकि आपके सपोर्ट क्या है बहुत आवश्यकता पड़ती है। और वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें उन लोगों तक जो इस बार के यूपीएससी प्री देने वाले हैं, ताकि वो भी अपना रिवीजन अच्छे से कर सके और आगे अच्छे से पढ़ सके। तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में। तब तक के लिए हमारे प्रीवियस वीडियो लेक्चर को अगर आप लोगों ने नहीं देखा तो उसे भी देखिए, उसे भी स्नेह दीजिए, प्यार दीजिए और उससे भी रिवीजन कीजिए। तो मिलते हैं आपसे अगले वीडियो लेक्चर में। तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, जय भारत।